What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. It's been a very long time since the first video I posted, but I'm back. I'm ready to really ramp up work on this game engine. Sorry for the wait. I got a lot of studying done, and I think I'm ready to create the best engine possible that we can. So we're going to jump straight in today. I have an empty VS Code project. All it has is a README, a license file, and an image for the logo. If you click the link in the description, you'll go to the GitHub repository where you can see what all this looks like, and it's where I'll be pushing all the commits and updates to this project. So, what we have for today is creating project structure and getting the build system working. So I think we're going to start with maybe a little bit of code, but don't quite know yet. I'm going to keep this kind of short. So for now, we're only going to have a test bed project where we're going to test all the libraries and plugins we end up making, and we're going to have our base static library, which I'm going to call Starlight base. This is going to be our library where we make all of our basic low-level things like our job system, our logging system, memory system, OS layer, things like that. So, just like every CMake project, we are going to create a CMake lists file. And we're going to start it off with a few commands. So, we're going to start off with using CMake version 3.2, and I'm going to name this Starlight Engine, and that is it for our top level. Besides this, I'm going to do add subdirectory. I'm going to add the testbed application, and above that we're going to add Starlight base. So what this CMake file does, for people who don't know CMake, just creates a project, and we're going to look in these subdirectories for more CMake files. So we'll start on this one first. So we're going to start with the same thing. We need our minimum version. Version 3.2. I'm going to call this project Starlight Base. I like to keep things organized, so I'm going to set a list of source files. And for now, we're just going to have a base.c and a base.h. They don't exist yet, so nothing will work, but that's what we're going to do. We're going to have an add library, which is what's going to compile our library. I'm going to use the project name. We're going to make sure that it's built as a static library, because this project will always be a static library. And then we're going to give it these source files. Now, we're going to do a few more things. Target include directories is something we use to include other directories into this project, and it's also how we include things that when other projects link to us, they get the same files. So for example, for this project, I'm going to have a public include directory, public meaning whoever links to this will get this as well. And it's just going to be this project. It's going to be CMake current source directory /. And what this is going to do is any project that links to this project or any files inside of this project will have this as an include directory. And CMake current source directory is a macro for this file right here where the CMake list is. That's all we need for now. We're not going to really have any linked libraries to this, I don't think. So let's move on to the testbed application. And actually, we'll create some files real quick. We'll create base.c and base.h. Okay, now in the testbed, we're going to start it off the same as everything else. test bed, nothing too fancy. For this one, add executable is what makes an exe file, or whatever your platform specific file is. We're going to use project name, and we're going to just give it main.c. And then, of course, we have to link libraries. And the way this will work is, since Starlight Base and Testbed are both included in the top level CMake, we can just use the Starlight Base name and it will find it and link it to this project, since it's a static library. When we start working with DLLs, we'll have to do some cool CMake tricks to really make everything work. I'm going to make this public, even though nothing will really link to Testbed. We might come back and change this to private if I get weird errors, but I don't think I've ever run into problems with having the executable have public linked libraries. And we'll just put the name right here, Starlight Base. We'll make sure it's the same. Yes, it is. We'll copy this. We'll do the same thing for our include directories. It's the exact same thing. And boom, our CMake lists are now done. I'm going to create this C file. We'll do a little bit of testing. We'll have this set up. What we're going to do in this test file is just print from static library. We're going to just print something to the console. In main, we'll include base.h, and we might have some errors right now because VS Code takes a while for the include directories to show up. But we're going to write a little main. We're going to return 0 because we were writing in C, and I think that means we need to return stuff always. And we're just going to say test, and that should work. I'm going to rebuild the CMake project, see if it runs into problems. Nope, build files have been written. We're running in AMD 64 mode, MSVC CLI, so this is Clang CL. It's the compiler I'm going to use because MSVC will give us some problems later on when we try to work with DLLs and things like that, but we'll worry about that when the time comes. We'll click play, and hello from static library. So this is the base structure for our project. We're going to have the static library, our executable. The way I'm going to work with the engine is whichever projects need to be executables, they'll take care of the main loop by themselves. I don't really want to make an entry point. I like having the executable files take care of the main loop because, for example, if we wanted to make a shader compiler and we wanted it to be standalone from the engine, we could still use our job system, still use our logger, a bunch of different libraries we have in Starlight Base, but it could have its own main loop. Instead of making a base application and we run the application from a main, or it takes care of the main for us, every executable can take care of the startup by itself, which is what I prefer. Some people don't like it. They want this to not even be shown, but for me, I'm okay with it. Thank you for watching this video. I think this is where I'm going to cut it. Wanted to keep this one super short. Another video will be coming very, very soon. Next, we're going to take a look at creating our OS layer and work on creating fibers. So the first big goal for the project is create the fiber job system. I believe in incremental programming, so I'll be writing everything out, but I'll only write what we need. I have done some job systems before, but we're going to try to do something new, something creative, and try to make it work great. And incrementally as we go, we'll add more and more to files that we create. So thanks for watching. See you in the next one.